Centaurworld. Centaurworld. It's a very strange word, but Centaurworld is a brand new show on Netflix about a horse that magically gets transported to another world where everything is a centaur. Now that is as crazy as it sounds. It's a very crazy description of the show, and it's enough to turn people away immediately when they hear it. But today I want to do something a little different than what I normally do and share my thoughts and opinions on this strange show and why I personally think it kind of sucks. Before I go any further though, allow me to elaborate more on my experience with this show. Essentially, one day I decided to sit down and watch this one afternoon because the animation looked great, and actually going through with the show itself, the animation actually did hold up. It actually was good next to the trailer and previews and stuff I saw. So the animation was great and everything like that, and it was enough to pull me in and give the show a chance, and it was about talking colorful horses, kind of. So that's kind of similar to My Little Pony, so I'd figured, you know what, why not give it a shot? Especially since other people that liked MLP seem to like this show and enjoy it. So, like I said, why not give it a shot? I am part of the MLP group after all, and I make Ponytown content and other MLP related content, especially with Gen 5 coming up. I've been making content like that. But that's pretty much why I even gave the show a chance. But what made me give up on it? What made me give up on the show? I actually made a list of complaints and critiques that I feel strongly about with this show, and so let's just go ahead and run through that and explain myself as I do. When I first watched the first episode, there was something that stood out to me pretty quickly, and it was very strange, and I thought it was bad right away, and that was the pacing of the show. It felt really slow in some parts and really fast in others, in such a way that the first episode felt like 40 minutes, even though it was like 26 minutes long. I didn't hold the pacing against it because it was the first episode, and that sort of thing can happen with those. There's almost always some form of issue with the first episode that, you know, you gotta watch 2 episodes at least before you can decide if the show is good or not, right? Everyone knows that. Unfortunately, it wasn't just the first episode that had this issue. The second and third episode also had weird pacing, and I couldn't get past the feeling of my time being wasted or warped or some other weird thing like that. It was actually really annoying. For a better understanding on why the pacing was bad, I want to take a look at the second episode and kind of explain a little bit of what happened in the second episode. So, spoilers, I guess, but it is only the second episode, so it's not really that spoilerly or anything like that. But in the second episode, they spent about 3-ish minutes singing about adventure and being careful or whatever, followed by a minute or 2 of them arguing about continuing past a tornado, because they sing and dance or whatever like that, and they see this tornado and they're like, oh shit, should we keep going? And Horse wants to keep going, and one of the other characters, you know, argues with them, and they argue a little bit about it for a couple of minutes, and then Horse finally decides that she's going to move forward. She doesn't care if they join or not. She's going to move forward without them. And this turns into this epic, cool battle that actually lasts a couple of minutes, a few minutes of them like dealing with this tornado and things like that. It's big enough and epic enough to sort of call it the climax of the episode. Now, that's kind of the problem. You never put the climax of a story in the middle of a story. It just doesn't work that way. Not unless there's something even bigger in the final act, and this was right in the middle of the episode. Sadly, there isn't anything else that happens in the episode. They interact with the tornado around the middle part of the episode, like I said. Then the last 10 minutes of it is just Horse crying about being lost, followed by reuniting with the others. And of course, there's a song and stuff like that. And while the song about Horse's riders and stuff like that is a bit sad, and it does make me, it really makes me care a lot more about Horse, but it kind of ruined the pacing of the show to put the climax in the middle of the show and then just halt everything and slow way down. It doesn't work, and the show, it did a similar thing in each episode. It did similar stuff in every single episode that I watched, but that episode there, episode 2, was the worst that I saw of the pacing that this show has. It's like they had like a little bit of a slowish opening, a little bit of medium opening, I guess you could call it, and then a really epic adventure, cool, fast-paced stuff going on here, like this climactic epic battle, and then just the rest of the show is just nothing, basically, and it ruined the pacing. I haven't even mentioned much about the singing yet, but I need to, because the singing is actually really bad. Or rather, the songs are. The singing itself isn't too bad. The people that sang the songs that they did, I think, did an excellent job with the songs that they got. But these songs themselves weren't that great. I get that the show is a musical, and I understand that completely. I'm not a huge fan of musicals, and maybe that's part of what this issue is, but I can get past stuff like that. I've enjoyed musicals in the past and stuff like that, but when they sing every 5 minutes, almost every 5 minutes on the dot, that also hurts the pacing, like, a lot, especially if you're a 26-minute episode. Every episode's like 20 to 26 minutes, but when you're singing like every 5 minutes on the dot, you get like 3 songs in there and stuff like that every episode. That really hurts the pacing. Now, many of the songs were obviously forced and they didn't feel right, and you could tell they were forced or something, right? Because they didn't seem right at all. This was worse in the 3rd episode, when instead of explaining what needs to be done, this fucking hippo just sings about what needs to be done. Almost as if the writers were like, oh shit, we can't stretch this episode long enough if we just have her tell them what they need to do to get these keys. Let's make her sing for 3 minutes about it instead, but let's also spend no time making the song actually good or flow or anything like that. That's what that felt like. That episode also has another song, a whole song about Horse crying, and that feels even more forced. Like, they made a whole song, like 2 minutes of a song of Horse just crying and things like that. That was really annoying. like seriously, you couldn't make them sing about anything else, because they actually do quite a bit in this episode, but you couldn't make them sing about anything else. You couldn't have had like a Llama Wink or something like that sing about her, her past, about struggling with this magic thing or anything like that. You couldn't have them sing more about the boat or sing more about this or that or whatever like that. You had to be like, okay, Horse is crying. We have to make a whole song about Horse crying, because that's a big, super important thing. Like, what the fuck, man? Come on. It just feels forced. Now, a lot of the songs were bad in the episodes that I watched, but some were good. Like I said earlier, the song about Horse and her rider and missing her and things like that was actually really good, and I liked it. It did what it was supposed to do. It made me feel something. But next up, we have the not-so-funny jokes of the show. I don't really have much to say about the comedy and the humor of the show, other than the fact that every single joke seemed to either be about singing, about this girl stealing shit, or how stupid everyone was.
My armor! My reins! They're all gone! I'm completely and utterly nude.
We're all nude here.
Wait, your rider can make it rain?
There was also occasionally butt and fart jokes and things like that, but nothing really that funny. I think for the entirety of what I watched, I chuckled like twice, and that's it. The jokes get really old really fast. On to the characters and my problems with them, because yes, I do have problems with the characters too. In the 3 episodes that I watched, they did nothing to convince me to watch the rest of the series, and a big part of that was the characters. There's only like 2 that matter, Horse and Llama Wink. Like these two are the only ones that matter. And forget about everyone else. It actually seemed to go out of its way to make me hate everyone else other than these characters. In fact, it actually did make me hate Llama Wink up until the 3rd episode, and I still didn't like them a whole lot after that 3rd episode. So yeah, there you go. These are the only 2 characters that matter. Everyone else is just there for comedic relief, and it's really annoying. I mean, they dead ass have a character whose whole personality, their whole personality is just, I hate you, I'm tough. That's their whole personality. And sure, this is probably supposed to be the typical tough guy who is secretly soft inside or whatever, but they don't give him any redeeming qualities whatsoever. He's just an ass, like, the entire time. He literally tells Horse that he hates her, and no one cares. No one fucking cares. He literally straight up tells some of them that he hates them, and nobody fucking cares. He's mean to some of the other characters, and no one cares. Why do they hang out with him? Like why? Then there's the character whose whole personality is, I steal things. Like, who wrote the characters? It's like, it actually genuinely feels like after Horse and Llama Wink, after writing those characters and coming up with their characters and a little bit about their backstory and their personality and things like that, they just gave up after that and just left everything else to just be basic shit. Like, it's bad, and the show makes me hate all of them early on because of how annoying they are. They're all really annoying. It's genuinely like having 5 SpongeBobs chase this poor horse around who just went through something very traumatic. They're annoying every single time they talk, every single time they walk, and how they interact with the world. It's just annoying after annoying after annoying, everything that they do and say. And that really sums up my feelings about this show. It's very, very annoying. I know there's going to be someone out there that loves the show that will be mad at me for only watching 3 episodes and then saying the show sucks, but the truth is, if a show takes more than 3 episodes to make me care about anything or want to watch more, then it wasn't a good show. Like, if the first 3 episodes in a row annoy me and make me feel like my time is being wasted, it's just not worth the time to finish the series. It's not worth the time to watch a 4th episode and a 5th episode and then finish the season, finish the series. It's just not worth it. It's really annoying. And that's a real shame. The show had a lot of potential. It's a magical land with characters that could have been much better, with a plot that has a clear goal right off the bat. It's a show with some great songs, but too many terrible ones that are forced in. This could have been as good as Star vs. the Forces of Evil, or even better than that, because Star vs. the Forces of Evil has its own issues and things like that, but we'll get into that another time, possibly. But they wasted all their potential. They wasted all of their potential, and that's really it. That's really all I have to say. That's why I think the show kind of sucks, and why I won't be watching any more of it or talking about it on the channel or anything like that. I don't want to discourage any of you from watching it, though. Give it a shot, and maybe you'll have a different opinion from me. Maybe you'll enjoy it totally differently than me. That's up to you. But I hope you all enjoyed the review regardless. It's very different from what I normally do, which is Ponytown and My Little Pony and stuff like that. Especially with Gen 5 coming out. I've been making more Gen 5 content lately and stuff, so I do hope that you enjoyed regardless. If you did, I would sure as heck appreciated it if you liked, subscribed, shared, did all those wonderful things like that, of course, because when you do those wonderful things like that, you get access to wonderful content such as this. But that is not all you get. No, it's not all you get. You also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.